Hey guys, Tater here with another tutorial. Now in this video I'm going to show you how to make particle trails, which has been kind of the topic that everybody's been asking for on the Total Miner forums. Pretty much what it is if you've ever seen Garry's Mod Hide and Seek, it would be the blue line that follows the last alive player, the last to be found. Pretty much like this, and it goes for a few seconds and then it deletes over time. And it pretty much goes like that. It breaks off a little bit, but that's just due to lag. But this can be modified however you like, and we'll get right into the script. Pretty much, I've got it already made, and I have it on a loop, that way it constantly goes. But I'm going to go ahead and go through each different section of it. So to do that, you need the particle emitter, and you want the bottom one because that has everything. Now inside of it, well, it'll start off with a emit position offset. What that does is it just adds a number, whatever we put into the initial spawn-in coordinates. But we don't need that, so we're going to put it at 0. Emit position variance randomly puts in numbers, which allows for like a particle of smoke or stuff like that, fire. We want that as 0, 0, 0. If we had 0, 1, 0, it would randomly put in a value 1 above and 1 below whatever it was that we put in. So it would randomly appear up and down. So we don't want that because we want it to be a stationary thing. For the color, I'm going to put 0, 150, and 250, which gives me the bluish cyan color. Now, because I want this to fade over time, so the lighter color and the more transparent color is near the end of the trail and the darker one is in the beginning. That way, if people are following you in a game of hide and seek, they know which side to go. What we're going to do is put a 0, because alpha is going to be really, really low. Alpha is your transparency. And then velocity variation, that is the speed at which the particles move, and it randomly adds whatever value we do, kind of like the emitter offset, or emitter variance. So we're going to have 0, 0, 0 because the particle isn't going to move. It's actually going to spawn in and stay where it was, but the player moves, and it keeps spawning in particles, so it looks like it moves. Rotation, that is each particle and how much it spins. If you put 3.14 or pi, it will make it every time the particle spawns in, it will spin one full time from the time it spawns to the time it gets removed. You can have that if you want, but it's not needed right now. You can also double it up to be 6.28, which would make it do 2 full spins and it's moved. Gravity would be the weight of the particle. If you have it 0, it's going to be just like how I had it in the beginning, where it stays where it's at. If you had a gravity of 1, over time it will fall down, which in a hide and seek that might not be too good, because if the player gets on something, it won't really show. It'll look like they went through the wall or something like that, and it'll be confusing. For start color, we're going to have the same thing as the previous, except for the alpha is going to be a little bit higher. So I'm going to do 0 for red, 150 for green, and 250 for blue. But for the alpha, this time I'm going to do maybe 150. That way it spawns in, but it's not fully solid. And then for size, we want probably a 0.25, because that would be a reasonable size. Players can see it, but it's still kind of small enough to be hidden. And for size, you actually need to do X, Y, Z, and then the final size. So you're going to put it in like a coordinate. And then there's one more variable we got to do, and we're going to make it smaller than it usually is. So I did 0.5 on my other script, which made it spawns in at 0.25 and it gets half as big over time, where it shrinks a little bit. That didn't really shrink on the screen, so I'm going to put it as 0.25, which makes it a fourth of the size. So it should be pretty small. It should be about like 0.6 something when we're done with it, or 0.06 something. Velocity, again, we don't want it to move, so we're going to put 0, 0, 0. If we wanted to make this a tail and not a trail, it would be like a tail that follows us around. It'd be the same thing we've got, except for we would put P rel colon, and then this 0 right here would be a 1, or a -1, which would make it shoot behind us. Now for the duration, we want this to be as however long in seconds that the trail will survive before it disappears. I had it to 3 on the other one. That seemed a little bit too long, but again, if it's a big map, you might want a little bit longer. So I'm going to set it to 2.5. That'll be 2.5 seconds, and then it will delete. The next one is the emit frequency. This is how often a particle spawns in. The lower the number you have here, the smoother the particles will look, but the more lag that will come with it. So if you have it set to 1, it will pretty much be 1 particle spawns every second. So to make it really, really smooth, you might want to do 0.1 or 0.05. The lower the number, the better it'll look. But that means a lot more particles. The 0.05, it will spawn 20 particles every second. And then the emitter duration is actually how long the particles spawn in for before they stop. So I'm going to go and match the frequency of 2.5 because that's what we had it set to for how long it'll stay alive before it deletes. And then for the XYZ, we're actually going to type in PREL. That is player relative, and it will make it spawn wherever the coordinates are based on the middle of the character, or by where the bottom of the feet are. And don't forget to put the colon, that's important. Now for the coordinates, if you put 0, 0, 0, it will be at the bottom of the feet of the avatar. So to fix that, we put 0, 1, 0, and it will be at the belt of the avatar. So now if we run that script, we will have a trail that follows us around. Of course, the lag kind of catches up and makes it a little bit blocky, but for the most part it's working just fine. And it follows me around whenever I jump. If I fly straight up, it'll follow me around. The faster you move, the more space is in between, but if you go really slow, it's almost a solid line. But that's how to make a particle trail. I hope this video helped, and if it did, you should go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section saying what you'd like to see me make a video on next.